Greetings, taxable assets, or perhaps I should say collateral damage. Welcome to the Departamento Analytica. I am Senior Auditor Valerius Kraus. Sit down, shut up, and listen. We are not here to celebrate the new year. A new year in the 41st millennium is simply a new fiscal period. It's another cycle of misery, depreciating assets, and of course clerical errors that usually result in exterminatus. Today, we are conducting a mandatory liability review. Audit file number 2026 NYR.
Senior Auditor, the file it's prepared, is the dossier from the civilian contractor, Auspex Tactics.
Yes, Auspex Tactics. The only contractor in this entire sector who seems capable of reading a spreadsheet without bursting into tears. He submitted a report titled, what is it? Huge Warhammer 40k reveals. Look at this optimism, scribe. Huge reveals. It's disgusting. To the Departamento, a reveal is just an unregistered asset that hasn't paid its registration fee yet. You see, it represents bureaucratic clutter. It represents more work for me. And as I look at this report on the New Year's reveal show, I see nothing. Nothing but financial ruin and the grinding, endless machinery of the ledger. Scribe, initiate the audit protocol. Open section alpha, the maelstrom.
Initiating section alpha, sir. Subject, the Red Corsairs, specifically the renegade commander, Huron Blackheart.
Blackheart, a name that sounds like a pre-existing condition denied by insurance. What is the contractor's assessment of this asset's liquidity? What's his function?
The report identifies him as the tyrant of Badab and master of the Maelstrom. Auspex Tactics notes that his primary utility on the tabletop lies in his strategic mobility.
Mobility, go on.
He allows his units to advance and charge in the same turn.
Tyrant, master. It's all just title inflation, scribe. Middle management delusion. But let's look at the mechanics here. You're telling me he allows units to advance? That's rolling a d6 to add to their movement and then charge into combat? All in the same phase.
That is correct, Senior Auditor. Typically, as you know, a unit that advances is ineligible to charge, Huron. He bypasses this restriction.
So it's not a threat range.
So?
It's not a threat range, you gloss brain servitor. It's tax evasion. He is moving inventory from the Imperium's ledger to his own offshore holding company in the warp faster than the auditors can track him. He's not a warlord. He's a fugitive, skipping town right before the audit, pillaging. That's just aggressive asset relocation without the proper paperwork. Form 10 Gamma implies a waiting period for asset transfer. Huron is skipping the queue. It's an administrative nightmare. What is the next item in this portfolio of degenerates?
The next asset is Garreon the Corpsemaster. The report lists him as a chief apothecary. His mechanical function is twofold.
Twofold, fine.
First, he can restore lost models to his unit, effectively healing the squad.
And second?
Second, if an enemy unit is destroyed or even just reduced to below half strength, within range of him, the player generates a command point.
A command point. For the uninitiated taxable assets listening in, that is the literal currency of command. It buys strategic interventions, re-rolls, interrupts, and Garreon generates this currency by, what does the report say, harvesting gene seed.
Essentially, yes, sir. He extracts biological material from the fallen to fuel the war effort.
He's not a healer, scribe. Look at the data. He's a repo man.
A repo man.
Harvesting gene seed. That is government property he is extracting from a distressed asset. When a Space Marine dies, that is a catastrophic loss of investment. Think of the man-hours, the hypno-conditioning, the war gear. Garreon is simply repossessing the biological hard drive to balance the books and gaining a command point for it. That's a finder's fee. It is not medicine. It is accounting with a chain drill. It's the only honest work in this miserable galaxy.
I must point out, sir, the efficiency of this model is quite high. However, the report moves on to a subcontractor, the Enforcer and the Hound.
I am already frowning.
Proceed.
This is a mercenary unit. It's a Tyrillian dog soldier accompanied by something called a Barkisi Hound. The Hound's name is Plunder.
Plunder. How fitting.
The contractor Auspex Tactics notes that this adds a melee threat with a unique aesthetic. It's distinct from the standard power-armored infantry.
Xenos contractors. Disgraceful. Scribe, do the math for me. Why are we outsourcing violence to a dog soldier?
Well, the cost-benefit analysis in the extended report suggests they offer specialized tracking capabilities that standard Imperial Guard units might lack.
Specialized tracking. We have cogitators for that. We have augurs. Why pay a dog good throne gelt when an Imperial Guardsman will die for absolutely free? It is fiscal irresponsibility of the highest order in a Barkisi Hound. We are fielding pets now.
I believe it's a trained war beast, sir. Unless that animal can file a request for ammunition resupply in triplicate, it is a liability. It eats, it poops, and it depreciates. Does it even have an armor save?
It has a 4+ save, sir.
4+. So it dies to a stiff breeze. Or a poorly thrown rock. Denied. Next asset.
The next entry is the Red Corsair Raiders.
Yeah.
These are the core infantry for the faction.
Rank and file. Go on.
The Auspex report notes a distinct visual language. They use scavenged gear marked 7 heads, tactical marine meltaguns, things like that. And they lack severe mutations. Crucially, they possess the infiltrate keyword.
Explain the infiltrate keyword for the record, Scribe. Assume the listeners are from the agric worlds and their most complex strategic decision is when to rotate crops.
Of course, sir. Infiltration allows a unit to deploy anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone. This happens before the first turn begins, rather than being confined to their own starting area.
So they are squatters. They are arriving early to sit on the objective markers before the game even starts. They're claiming territory they haven't paid for. And look at the equipment manifest. Scavenged gear. Marked 7 heads. Do you know what I hear, Scribe? I hear secondhand liabilities. These aren't elite troops. They are wearing written-off inventory. They're rummaging through the dumpster behind the local administratum precinct. They are dressed in trash and hiding in the bushes to avoid the tithe office. It's typical pirate behavior. Pathetic. Who leads this rabble?
A Captain Serosa, sir. A traitor imperial captain. The report highlights a specific ability she has regarding vehicles. It says she can plug into enemy ships or vehicles.
Plug in. Explain that.
Yes. When she boards or engages a vehicle, she can override its machine spirit. Effectively, she takes control of the bridge.
Hostile takeover. Literally. Finally. A traitor who understands corporate restructuring. She doesn't blow up the asset, she acquires it. She plugs in, overrides the board of directors, and reassigns the equity to her own portfolio. Now that is efficiency, Scribe. If she wasn't a damnable heretic, I'd hire her for the collections department. Mark her down as high yield potential. Now move on. Section Beta. The Eldari.
Section Beta, yes.
Yep.
The Eldari Corsairs. The report highlights the return of Prince Yriel.
The space elf with an ego the size of a battle barge. What is the tactical assessment on him? What's he bringing to the table this time?
He wields the Spear of Twilight. The Auspex contractor draws specific attention to the weapon's damage profile.
Yeah.
It deals flat damage 3.
Flat damage 3.
Yeah.
Pause, Scribe. This is significant. Explain the standard wound allocation for elite infantry in the current meta, for the record.
Yes. Most elite infantry, such as Terminator armor equipped Astartes or the Custodian Wardens, they possess exactly 3 wounds. A standard weapon with, say, D3 damage or even damage 2 would require multiple successful attacks to remove a single model. There's a degree of randomness.
Exactly. Randomness is the enemy of efficiency, but damage 3. Flat. That is the exact threshold required to liquidate a Terminator from the ledger in a single transaction. He isn't stabbing them. He's closing their account. Flat 3. No rolling, no variables, no hoping for a 5 or a 6 on a die. Just cold, hard, bureaucratic certainty. I approve of the efficiency, even if he is a pointy-eared narcissist. What else do these wastrels have?
The report mentions a new dual kit, the Viper jet bike, which is a classic update, and a new variant called the Starfang.
Starfang? Sounds dramatic.
The Starfang variant has raised some design questions.
Questions. The Department doesn't like questions. It likes answers and tides.
The gun turret faces backwards.
Repeat that.
The turret. It faces the rear, sir. The pilot faces forward, but the gunner and the heavy weapon are oriented directly behind the vehicle. The report describes it as, and I quote, one pilot pointing the right way, one pointing the wrong way, and the gun isn't facing forwards.
Shooting backward while flying forward, that is the perfect metaphor for the Eldar economy. They are retreating while pretending to advance. It's a structural deficit on wings. Scribe, how do you aim? How do you conduct a threat assessment? You are looking at where you have been, not where you are going. It is nostalgia weaponized. Oh, look at the glorious empire we used to have. Bang! Firing at ghosts. Absolute gloss-brained engineering. It's an accident waiting to happen.
What?
Liquidate it.
I believe the tactical intent is for kiting maneuvers, sir, firing while retreating from a slower foe. But I do see your point regarding the optics.
The optics are a disaster. Next.
There is one more Eldari asset of note, Carth the Void Dreamer, a psyker.
Magic. Wonderful. Does he pay taxes on his warp charge generation?
I doubt it, sir. However, his utility is in what the report calls zoning.
Zoning?
Yes. The report states he has rules for preventing units arriving from within 12 inches.
Clarify. Give me the specifics.
Standard D-strike rules teleportation or aerial drop require enemy units to set up more than 9 inches away from an enemy. Carth extends this denial bubble to 12 inches.
12 inches.
Yes, this makes a charge move from deep strike statistically improbable. A 12-inch charge roll on 2 dice is impossible without significant modifiers.
Zoning enforcement. He's not a wizard scribe. He's an astral bureaucrat enforcing a strict no loitering policy across the battlefield. You cannot deep strike here. This is a residential zone. He is applying a 12-inch restraining order on the enemy's deployment phase. Finally, someone respecting the boundaries of personal property. Approved.
Moving on to the next file. Senior Auditor.
This has to OP. Stop reading. I am looking at this quarter's requisition costs for this ink.
The ink, sir.
The High Gothic Quill ink. Do you have any idea what the Munitorum charges per milliliter? It's obscene. And look at the next entry in the file. Read the title of that Votann book. Read it.
It's titled, The Leagues of Votann. The Crucible of Champions Narrative Expansion.
The Crucible of Champions Narrative Expansion. Look at the syllable count on that. I am being charged per letter. The ledger accounts for every drop. Why do they do this? Why can't it just be Book A or Ledger 7? Every time I have to write Void Scarred or Hearthkin Salvagers, the Departamento loses 4 credits. It's madness. I swear, Scribe, if I see one more multisyllabic noun in this audit, I am going to drain your oil fluids and write the rest of this report in 10W40.
Please don't, sir. My knee joints. They seize up in the cold. It's very painful.
Then read section Gamma faster. The Votann. The dwarves, the squats, whatever they're calling themselves this week to avoid their proper tax classification.
Yes, section Gamma. Immediately. The Leagues of Votann. We are examining the Crucible of Champions book. The report notes that this expansion allows for custom characters in the Crusade narrative system.
Custom characters?
Yes. The report lists a few examples, such as a Ravenwing librarian, various rogue traders, or even a Crute rider with a rail rifle. It allows players to build unique profiles rather than using the standard data sheets.
Customization, the sworn enemy of the audit.
Oh, it's cool.
How am I supposed to tax a character if he doesn't have a standardized stock-keeping unit? Askew you. If every player can bring a unique Ravenwing librarian with different war gear, different psychic powers, how do I assign a standard appreciation value? It's a filing nightmare.
Actually, Auditor, the complexity implies a need for individual filing for each unique asset. This would technically increase the administrative fees we could levy by approximately 15% per model due to the non-standard asset surcharge on Form 88 Delta.
You make a compelling point, Scribe, a rare occurrence. However, the headache remains. Uniformity is streamlined profit. Individuality is just an excuse to make errors on the forms. What about the physical assets, the box set?
The box set is titled The Ironkin Procuration. The forensic analysis from Auspex Tactics returns a verdict of, well, it says in bold letters, do not buy way.
A do not buy rating. Explain, what's the problem?
It is a matter of volume versus value, sir. The box contains only 10 models. A Memnair strategist, a unit of steeljacks, and a unit of pioneers, the bikers. The analysis suggests that the cost of the box is likely to be disproportionately high compared to the model count. It's considered a trap for consumers.
Penny stock violence, that's what that is. Look at it. They package 10 dwarves in a cardboard box and call it a procuration. A fancy word for a bad deal. That's not a deal, Scribe. That's a scam even the Tau wouldn't fall for. And they're famously naive. They are selling you a starter force that barely constitutes a skirmish patrol. It's inflation. You are paying more per head for less biomass. It is a bad investment. The yield on this bond is junk status. Speaking of which...
It's a very smooth transition, sir. The report does mention a specific new mechanic for the Votann. It's called yield points.
Elaborate. Is this a new currency?
It appears to be, yes. You gain yield points through what the rules call hostile acquisition of objectives. It rewards the player for taking ground held by the enemy.
Yield acquisition. Finally. Language I respect. Votann understand the market. They don't capture ground for honor or glory or that corpse god of theirs. They do it for the yield. They are essentially auditors with better guns and much shorter legs. Hostile acquisition of an objective is just eminent domain with plasma cannons. I take your land because I can exploit it more efficiently than you can. Approved. Highly approved.
Moving to Section Delta, Senior Auditor. The Adeptus Custodes.
Ah, the gold-plated waste. The Emperor's personal overfunded retirement fund. Proceed.
The subject is the plastic refresh. The report indicates that several units previously available only in resin from Forge World are now being released in plastic. This for the Horus Heresy game, but by extension they could be used in Warhammer 40,000.
Which units?
These include several Contemptor Dreadnought variants, the Cladius Grav tank, and the Coronus carrier.
Plastic is cheaper to manufacture than resin. That's good for the bottom line. It's a sensible cost-cutting measure. But tell me about this Coronus carrier. What's the report say about that?
The Auspex report notes its size. It is, and I quote, absolutely huge. It is significantly larger than the standard Land Raider transport. It's a dedicated grav transport designed to move a large volume of custodians across the field.
Look at the specs on that transport. It's a golden hearse. A Land Raider is a brick. It's sensible. It's utilitarian. This Coronus, it's a parade float for a war zone. It's too big to park. Think of the logistical nightmare. You'd need a special permit just to turn it around in a Hive City street. However, if it delivers its payload of custodians intact, the cost per kill ratio might. It might just justify the gold plating. It is an obscene display of budget surplus, but if it works, it works.
Sir, there is a significant concern raised in the report. It's about the legality of these assets in the 41st millennium.
Legality. They are the Emperor's Guard. They are the law.
Not imperial law, sir. Tournament law. The gaming regulations. The Auspex Tactics report highlights a legality issue. Games Workshop has apparently given not exactly super reassuring statements about the long-term support for these models in the main Warhammer 40,000 game.
What does that mean? Not reassuring.
There's a fear among the player base that they may be relegated to Legends status.
Define Legends for the civilian contractors listening who don't understand these Byzantine regulations.
Legend status means the unit will continue to have rules, but those rules will not be updated for competitive balance. They are generally forbidden in most tournament formats. Effectively, they become collector's items with very little battlefield utility in organized play.
The zombie loop. Observe the genius of the manufactorum, scribe. It is the ultimate audit. They sell you the plastic today, premium prices, fresh molds, all the marketing hype, and they delete the rules tomorrow. They are erasing the asset's value after the purchase has been made.
It does seem counterintuitive to building consumer confidence.
It is brilliant. Evil, but brilliant. You buy the tank, you spend weeks painting the tank, you invest hours of labor, and then the rules committee in their ivory tower comes down and says, sorry, that tank no longer exists in this reality. Your investment hits zero immediately. The value is gone. It is the perfect crime. A Ponzi scheme built on plastic injection molding.
The report also mentions the visual updates to the line. Specifically, the introduction of female custodes and a general change in the scale of the models.
Scale creep, a common inflationary tactic in the miniature market.
Indeed. The report notes that head swaps are now available for female custodians. But regarding the height, Auspex points out that while the new models look very impressive, a taller model is, from a purely mechanical standpoint, disadvantageous.
Precisely. The Voxnet is screaming about lore implications. But in the cold, hard eyes of the ledger, all biomass has the same value, 0. A taller target just catches more shrapnel. You think a bolt round cares about your gender or your height? No. It cares about line of sight. Making a model taller just makes it harder to hide behind a ruin. It is a tactical liability disguised as inclusivity. You are paying for more plastic just to get shot in the head sooner. It's madness.
A very valid assessment of the cover mechanics, sir. Finally, we have Section Epsilon, the sponsor.
The commercial break. The necessary tithe to capitalism. What are they hawking this time?
Titan's terrain, sir. It's pop-up cardboard terrain. The report indicates it folds flat for storage and can be set up in minutes.
Cardboard cities. Perfect. It matches the structural integrity of the Imperium itself. One stiff breeze, one tyrannid sneeze, and the whole real estate market collapses into a pile of printed card.
It is efficient for storage, sir.
I agree. We are fighting galaxy-spanning wars over cardboard ruins. Why build with Ferrocrete when you can build with paper and hope? It folds flat. Good. It will be easier to file away when the planet is inevitably destroyed.
That concludes the file.
Yeah.
Senior Auditor, the audit is complete.
Complete. No, Scribe. The audit is never complete.
Sir.
Look at them. All of them. The Red Corsairs raiding because they have nothing else, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. The Eldar fleeing backwards into the dark, literally shooting at their own past. The Custodes polishing their gold while the very laws of reality, the legends, slowly conspire to erase them from the history books. They call it a new year. They call it a reveal.
It is supposed to be exciting, sir. Hopeful, even.
But in the grim dark, a new year isn't a promise. It's just another rotation of the misery. It's another fiscal quarter of accumulating debt that must be paid in blood. Every model they showed us, every single plastic soldier, is just a debt, a promise of violence. The Red Corsair is a debt to chaos. The Votann is a debt to greed. The Custodes, the biggest of all, a debt to a corpse on a golden chair. The reveal show is just a catalog of things that will eventually be assembled, painted, destroyed, and forgotten. The only constant is the cost. The endless grinding cost.
Shall I file the report, sir?
Dismissed. Pay your tithes, citizens.